Yo, what's going on, guys? Today I'm going to be going over the MLB slate on DraftKings and Yahoo for Tuesday, July the 30th. We got a 14-game slate for Tuesday today. It's a pretty loaded pitching slate at the top. We got 4 guys over 10K. We'll dig a little bit deeper into their matchups, but you can just tell by the top 3 guys, top 4 guys, the matchups are pretty tough. For example, like Verlander against the Indians, not the most optimal spot. Charlie Morton has to face the Red Sox. Shane Bieber has to face an Astros team that's pretty much fully healthy. But then you do have Noah Syndergaard in a very favorable matchup against the White Sox. So we got a lot of pitching at the top. I would say some of the matchups, though, are less than ideal. The mid-range pretty loaded as well. A couple guys like really stand out. Odorizzi against the Marlins. Yu Darvish been pitching a lot better lately, and he gets to face a pretty watered-down Cardinals lineup. David Price getting the Rays, a team that strikes out a lot versus left-handed pitching. And then if you're getting down even further, you have like Griffin Canning against the Tigers, Ronaldo Lopez against the Mets. And then you have for value like Drew Smyly against the Giants, very cheap play you could possibly consider. Maybe even Joe Musgrove against the Reds you could maybe go to. So there's definitely a lot of ways to go at pitching. There's pitchers at the top to pay for. There's mid-range options that stand out. There's even some value that I like. I'll be sure to hit on all the guys that I feel like I'm going to be playing today. We'll look at DraftKings and Yahoo. Then we'll talk about some batters that I like. We'll look at some stacks that I'll be playing, stacks that I'll be going to. And then towards the end of the video, for those of you that are interested in some BVP, I will cover some BVP plays at the end of the video. But before we do get started, guys, I would definitely appreciate it if you would drop a like on the video. And if you are new to the channel, make sure you click that subscribe button down below, so that way you don't miss out on any of my new videos. But at the top, most expensive pitcher today is Justin Verlander. He's $11,400 on DraftKings, and on Yahoo, Verlander is also the most expensive pitcher at $58. So this is definitely not the best spot for Justin Verlander, having to face the Indians on the road. If we look at this game, the implied run total, don't see really high totals in this game. 4.1 implied total for the Indians, 4.5 for the Astros. But still, it's just not the best spot for Verlander. He's also the most expensive pitcher on the slate at 11.4. I just don't know if the upside is really there for him in this matchup. Same could be said for a guy like Charlie Morton. Same could be said for a guy like Shane Bieber. So those top 3 guys, I feel like I'm not going to have much exposure to today. A lot of my exposure is going to go to Noah Syndergaard. I do like him a lot here against the White Sox, and I think this is a very favorable matchup for him. Plus, he's a lot cheaper than the top 3 guys. On Yahoo, he's at $49, which is a pretty appealing price. So we know how heavy of a strikeout team this White Sox team is versus right-handed pitching. A lot of Ks in the lineup. I think Syndergaard gives you a lot of upside here. This is usually a guy that I don't like to roster because his control is not the best when it's not like ace level. Like he doesn't have ace level stuff like Max Scherzer, Chris Sale, Garrett Cole, like these guys have. Syndergaard can get Ks. He can get 8, 9 strikeouts. Rarely does he go like 8 innings, though, with like 12 Ks. We saw him one game this year. I think it was like against the Reds or something. I can't remember earlier this year. He really had a dominant start, went like a complete game with like 12 Ks. Kind of looked like his old self. He hasn't been that good this year. He is still a pretty talented pitcher. 4.33 ERA doesn't make it seem like he is, but still a guy that does have some talent. Can go out there and get a couple strikeouts against this White Sox team. I feel like a good line projection for Syndergaard's probably what you see like in his game against the Giants. 7 innings, maybe one or 2 runs allowed, probably 8, 9 strikeouts, and 25 DraftKings points. I think Syndergaard could easily get that against this White Sox team. So I like him a lot where he's discounted off the top few guys. On DraftKings, the 4th most expensive pitcher, and on Yahoo, the 4th most expensive pitcher as well. And then for an SP2, there's a lot of ways you can go. If you want to go to this upper mid-range, you have guys like David Price at 9K, who I do like against the Rays. Yu Darvish, I wish he was a little bit cheaper against the Cardinals at 9,800. It's hard to pair him with Syndergaard, but I think Darvish's matchup is very favorable. Jake Odorizzi at 9,400 against the Marlins is a pretty expensive price tag to pay for Odorizzi, but if we do go over to Yahoo, he's only $38, and I think that's where he really stands out. I like him a lot as a cheap SP2 you can go to on Yahoo. So obviously a very favorable matchup pitching against the Marlins in Marlins Park. I do have a concern that like Odorizzi might not go as deep into this game as he normally would. since he's going to have to hit since it's in the National League. So say it's his turn to bat and it's like they're going through 5 innings and he's got like 85 pitches and it's his turn to hit. Maybe they pull him from the game, which is obviously a concern, but still just such a favorable matchup. He's very nicely priced on Yahoo at $38. For example, like he's $4 cheaper than Canning, $4 cheaper than Lopez, $6 cheaper than David Price. I do like Odorizzi a lot over on Yahoo. Odorizzi's not had the best run lately. He's definitely been struggling, but still this is a much more favorable matchup than some of the matchups that he's had lately, like against the Yankees, against Oakland, against Cleveland. Now he gets to face the Marlins in Marlins Park. So I think we see Odorizzi bounce back here, get you 20, 25 fantasy points, and be a pretty good SP2 play over on Yahoo. But on DK, it's going to be really hard to play Odorizzi and Syndergaard together, so we're going to have to look for the cheaper SP2. Griffin Canning's a guy that I like a lot on DraftKings at $7,900. Pitching at home against the Tigers. We know how friendly of a matchup this is as well. This is a Tigers team that's just really bad offensively, has a lot of strikeouts in his lineup versus right-handed pitching. Canning's a very heavy favorite at minus 241, which is something we really like to see. And he's just kind of underpriced for the upside that he has in this matchup. He did struggle in his last outing against Baltimore, but that was a relief appearance. He did not start that game, came in for relief, gave up 5 runs through 2 innings. He was supposed to start against Baltimore like last Friday, but since he had to pitch in the Thursday night game, since he had to come in for relief, he didn't get the start on Friday and pretty much had his start skipped. Now he's expected to start here against Detroit. He has faced Detroit once this year and did pretty well. Went 5 1/3 innings, allowed 4 hits, 2 runs, got 7 Ks, 23 DraftKings points. Would not be surprised at all if we get that kind of performance from Griffin Canning today. Could even be a better performance. So I like him a lot against the Tigers. There are other guys you could possibly consider in that price range. Like you do have Ronaldo Lopez, who has been pitching very well lately for $200 less. You could possibly consider, if you really want to go cheap, you got a guy like Drew Smyly, who I don't think is that good of a pitcher, but he's also very cheap, and he's pitching against the Giants, a pretty bad offense. So Drew Smyly at $6K as a value option you could maybe consider. And then you have like Joe Musgrove as well at $5,100 you could possibly go to. But I do like Canning a lot at $7,900 as a potential SP2. If you do go with Syndergaard and Canning as your 2 pitchers on DraftKings, that leaves you nearly 4K remaining per player, which I think on today's slate you definitely can work around. There's a ton of offenses. There's 28 offenses on this slate, so you've got a lot of teams to choose from in terms of stack. There's a lot of cheap stacks you can look to make it pretty easy to get the pitching that you want. So let's talk about some of those batters. I do want to start off with this Coors Field game. So right now it looks like it's going to be Kyle Freeland and Julio Urias pitching in this game, 2 lefties, which is going to make some of the right-handed hitters very appealing. One guy that really stands out on both sides is A.J. Pollock facing Kyle Freeland. Pollock on Yahoo in the outfield is only $15. I like him a lot over there at $15, and on DraftKings at $4,500, I think he's also a pretty good play. So very favorable matchup against Kyle Freeland. I'm going to pull up Kyle Freeland's game log real quick. If you just look at the game log, it's been pretty bad lately. He did make a start on the road against the Nationals in his last start and was actually not that bad. Went 6 innings, only gave up 4 hits and one run, got 4 Ks. But now he has to face this Dodgers team in Coors Field. I don't expect Freeland to have much success here. He really hasn't had much success at all in general this year, especially when he's been at home in Coors. He's gotten blown up in most of his starts. Now he has to face the Dodgers, just a really good lineup. The Dodgers don't have a lot of righties in their lineup, which obviously is a concern because Freeland is much worse against righties than lefties. But still, the lefties aren't easy outs like Verdugo and Bellinger and Max Muncy if he's in the lineup. Right now, Fantasy Labs has Christopher Negron projected at 5th. Let me see how cheap he is on DraftKings. He's $3,600 in the outfield. He was added to the Dodgers active roster, looks like today on Monday. So if he's in the lineup batting towards the top of the order, you could definitely consider him as a value play. We'll have to wait and see what the Dodgers lineup looks like. But right now, Labs does have him in the projected lineup batting 5th. So he could be a guy you look to, especially if you're stacking the Dodgers as sort of a salary saver. But I really like Pollock. A lot of power versus lefties. Batting 3rd, should be batting towards the top of the lineup, top of the order. Facing a pitcher in Freeland who has really struggled against righties this year. Love this spot for A.J. Pollock. Then another team you can definitely consider, especially on DraftKings, is the Rangers. The Rangers, I think, are going to be a team I look to for value bats, for a value stack. If you just look throughout their lineup, no hitter over 5K besides Danny Santana, and he might not even be in the lineup. So you got Chu at 4,400, Andrus at 4K, Mazara 4,200, Odor 41, Cabrera 3,700. A lot of cheap bats in this lineup. Two guys that really stand out on DraftKings for me are the two lefties, Mazara and Odor. I really like Mazara 4,200, like I said, and Odor 4,100. So they're getting a matchup here against Mike Leake. Mike Leake has been much better lately. If we pull up his game log real quickly, you look at the game log, and it's actually been pretty good. Out of 3 of his last 4 starts, he's gone for at least 22 DraftKings points, 22 at home against Texas, then he got 40 DraftKings points at home against the Angels. He did have to pitch on the road against the Angels and just got absolutely blown up, gave up 7 runs, didn't even make it through a full inning. Against the Cardinals, he pitched pretty well at home, 28 DraftKings points. But now he has to face the Rangers on the road in Globe Life Park, which is one of the more hitter-friendly parks in the game, especially during the summer, like now when it's going to be 98 degrees with 34% humidity. We kind of see it in the run total. Pretty high totals on both sides of this game, 5.9 for the Rangers and 5.3 for the Mariners. I really like this Rangers side, just given the upside that they have here versus Mike Leake. Mike Leake has given up a ton of home runs this year, pretty much to both sides of the plate. Mazara and Odor, I really like left-handers that have a lot of power versus right-handed pitching. And if we do look at some of the BVP from this game, a lot of these Rangers bats have hit Leake well, for what that's worth. Odor's gone 7 for 22 with 3 home runs. Mazara's gone 8 for 19 with a home run. There are even more: Santana, Chu, Mathis, Pence, Cabrera. All those guys have had some success versus Mike Leake. So I really like this spot for the Rangers. I think they give you a lot of upside at a very reasonable price tag. Pretty much all their hitters are reasonably priced. But over on Yahoo, I don't think the Rangers are as necessary because they are kind of priced up. Like, I'll pull up the Rangers real quick, get to that game, and I'll show you some of the pricing on Yahoo. So, like, going to throughout their positions, Odor 17, Cabrera's 13, which I like, Andrus is 13, which I like, but then, like, Chu, Mazara, Pence are all 17 and 16. Willie Calhoun might be in the lineup. He's $12. He could be a guy you look to for value. But I don't think the Rangers are as necessary. I want to go back to the Coors game. Some of the Coors pricing on Yahoo is pretty stupid. Like Nolan Arenado facing Julio Urias, a lefty in Coors, at only $18 really stands out as a really good play, really easy play at third base. Same can be said for Ian Desmond. Ian Desmond's been mashing lefties this year. Now he gets to face a lefty in Coors. So he's another guy that I like from the Rockies. You could definitely probably still fit in a Rocky stack or a Dodger stack with expensive pitching on Yahoo because the pricing is relatively soft on some of these Coors bats. I'm not sure if that dude batting fifth, Negrons, he's in the player pool and he is minimum salary at shortstop. So if he's batting fourth, fifth for the Dodgers, he's probably going to be the easiest value play of the slate at minimum salary. Definitely want to keep your eye on him. But I do like some of these Rockies bats as well on the other side against Urias, specifically the right-handed hitters. Obviously, Story and Arenado, Desmond, we really like. Those are the guys you're going to want to target against Urias because he's been much worse against righties just throughout his career. He's a pretty good pitcher, pretty talented pitcher in general, but having to face the Rockies in Coors Field, not the best spot for Urias. So I do like the righties, Arenado and Desmond specifically on Yahoo. But I think that's it for my 5 plays for DraftKings and for Yahoo today, guys. Now let's go ahead and talk about some stacks, then we'll look at some BVP before we end the video. So obviously this Coors Field game is a game we're going to want to target for hitters. I do prefer the Dodgers side just in a nutshell against Freeland. But on Yahoo, where you have some cheap prices on some of the Rockies bats, the Rockies will definitely be a stack that I look to go to. On DraftKings, I really like the Rangers as a team you can look to for value bats. They have a very high total, 5.9 implied run total, and a lot of cheap hitters in their lineup. So if you need cheap bats, definitely look to the Rangers. Maybe some other teams we could possibly consider. Don't want to forget the Yankees if you can pay up for them. 7.1 implied run total, getting Taylor Clark at home. I expect the Yankees are going to be a stack you probably want to get some exposure to today. 7 total, highest on the slate. Definitely a team you don't want to overlook. But let's go ahead and talk about some BVP real quick before we end the video. So obviously you have a lot of those Rangers BVP plays that we've talked about. Just a couple more that stand out. Carlos Santana, 18 for 75 with 8 home runs off of Justin Verlander. Jose Ramirez, 11 for 27 2 home runs off of Verlander. Francisco Lindor, 10 for 29 with the home run. Mentioned all the Rangers BVP against the league. Odor, 7 for 22. Mazzara, 8 for 19. Danny Santana, 6 for 12. Chu, 10 for 30. Jeff Mathis, 6 for 12. Hunter Pence, 18 for 45. Asdrubal Cabrera, 8 for 20. So the Rangers got the added BVP against the league to go along with just being in a really good spot. Then down here towards the bottom at this Coors game, we do have a couple BVP plays in this game. Justin Turner's gone 12 for 23 off of Freeland, and A.J. Pollock 6 for 17 with a home run off of Freeland. So those are just a couple of BVP plays for today, guys. I think that is it for this video. Hopefully you did enjoy the video, and hopefully it did help you. If you enjoyed the video, just make sure you click that like button down below, and make sure you subscribe if you have not already. And if you do have any questions, feel free to leave them down in the comment section below. Or like always, you can hit me up on Twitter at the DFS_GOAT. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed the video, and we will see you in the next one. Good luck tonight, guys. Peace.